On July 14, 2016, the Utah Court of Appeals issued its decision in the case of Thayer versus Thayer. A link to the full text of that decision is provided here, and we have also included that link in the description section of this video report. Wife appealed the trial court's interpretation of the parties' stipulated divorce decree, arguing, first, that the district court incorrectly interpreted the case of Johnson versus Johnson as mandating that Utah courts divide federal pensions on a net basis, and second, that the district court incorrectly interpreted portions of the parties' divorce decree. Wife also argued that she is entitled to an award of attorney's fees incurred by enforcing the provisions of the decree both at the trial court level and on the appellate level, pursuant to Utah Code Section 30-3-3, subsection 2 of the Utah Code. That permits a court to award attorney's fees related to any action to enforce division of property in a domestic case in its discretion, so long as the party seeking an award of fees substantially prevailed upon the claim or defense. The Court of Appeals concluded that the district court's order that husband's military pension be divided on a net basis was an error where the order was based on a misinterpretation of earlier Utah appellate decision, in this case, Johnson versus Johnson, and a misunderstanding of the requirements of military retirement pay division under federal law. The parties themselves based the division of husband's pay on his disposable retired pay, stipulated that the pension would be divided according to Johnson and the provisions of the USFSPA, and did not indicate what deductions they regarded as authorized. Thus, by stipulating that husband's disposable retired pay was the amount to be equally divided, the parties incorporated the specialized definition of that term, including its authorized deductions under federal law, not a private definition that husband claimed the parties had created by stipulation. And because the USFSPA's definition of disposable retired pay, in effect at the time of the parties' divorce in 2013, did not authorize taxes as deductions, and had not for nearly 25 years prior, the district court erred. The parties themselves characterized as marital property the exact portion of husband's retirement benefit that the USFSPA has designated as divisible by state courts, the disposable retired pay. And the parties agreed that wife was to receive her portion of husband's pension in accordance with the provisions of USFSPA. The Court of Appeals interpretation comports with the district court's interpretation of the portions of the decree regarding the division of wife's pensions, and interpreted the parties' agreement in a manner that the Court of Appeals felt, quote, produces a more equitable result, close quote. Accordingly, the Court of Appeals remanded for further proceedings consistent with its opinion. In addition, the Court of Appeals directed the District Court on remand to determine under Utah Code Section 30-3-3 sub 2 whether to award wife the attorney's fees she incurred to enforce the parties' decree at the trial court level. Because wife also substantially prevailed on appeal, the Court of Appeals directed that if the district court awards wife attorney's fees for enforcing the parties' decree below, the trial court must also award wife the attorney's fees she incurred for enforcing the decree on appeal.